Why should I shout? If I put this in here, go show. Huh?
Sure.
Here. Here. Are you sure? Just put on like this now.
Sure, okay.
Since you look up, my lady, you know, sabi something. Which kind of cameraman you
know? Cameraman, I'll be away.
See your front camera no good, Abi. Your front camera.
The front camera no good. Which one now?
This your live view.
Who tells you the front camera no good?
You see, okay. Maybe I just light.
Now the lights now in the cause I'm now. That's why I like to face them up. A little bit so that they're able to see it too much. Welcome to Global News on Signature Television. I am Charles Pius. In the headlines, Nigeria's First Lady calls for greater attention to mental health as international community marks Mental Health Awareness Day. Joint health workers issue 15-day ultimatum to federal government. NATO chief, Ukrainian president, and British Prime Minister meet in London. And Ukrainian drones attack Russian military air base in northern Caucasus. Details in a moment. Nigeria's First Lady, Oluremi Tinubu, has emphasized the need for greater attention to mental health issues, especially in the work environment. Tinubu raised the issue on Thursday as Nigeria joins the rest of the world to commemorate this year's Mental Health Awareness Day with the theme, It's Time to Prioritize Mental Health in the Workplace. The First Lady, who described the theme as timely, noted that one's mental well-being can be affected, especially in times like this when most people feel dissatisfied at the workplace for several reasons. According to her, emotions bottled up is the beginning of mental health issues and challenges that confront individuals. She emphasized the need to tackle the issue of stigmatization so that people can speak openly about their struggles, thus leading to early diagnosis and improved recovery outcomes. The Rivers State government has shut down a hospital in Omagwa, Ikwere local government area, run by an agriculturist as part of its ongoing crackdown on illegal medical facilities. The Commissioner for Health, Dr. Adeze Ore, told Newspaper Port Harcourt that the hospital is among the 6 health facilities sealed by the State Anti-Quackery Committee established by the ministry in April this year. Among the facilities shut down is an unregistered clinic in Ogale, Eleme, where the operator not only provided medical services without proper supervision, but also ran an educational program to train licensed practitioners. Another facility in Aleto, Eleme, was run by a retired nurse with a PhD, had no legal certification to operate a medical center, while another unlicensed practitioner also ran a clinic in the same area, further fueling concerns about quackery in the states. The commissioner further disclosed that a facility in Komkom Oyibo, managed by 2 foreigners and a Nigerian, was found to be recycling syringes and needles, posing severe public health risks, while the 6th facility in the Afam area of Oyibo was run by a Nigerian with foreign medical training who had no certification from Nigerian medical authorities nor a National Youth Service Corps NYSC discharge certificate. I forget the remote control.
This recycled and reused syringes and needles, blood giving sets, run by reputed to be a North Korean his cohorts. We can see that these perpetrators violating these unethical and to the people. Beyond that, they provide training so that other people can go into other locations and also observe the trend. A lot of them are going out of the perhaps
The Commissioner expressed concern that these illegal facilities did not only provide substandard healthcare services but also train others in their dangerous practices, noting that the locations of these medical facilities indicates that unregistered health centers are increasingly moving to the outskirts of Rivers State. She urged operators of such facilities to come forward to proper certification and warned that the state would not tolerate any form of quackery.
to visit the river for the conditions and the criteria for registration. Use today's press briefing to reiterate that the maintains a zero tolerance for quack facilities. We also warn medical doctors and other great train and collude with quacks, qualified practitioners, against crossing the lines called practice. We also use this opportunities and chemist shops who have illegally to providing consultation services and they admit medications, admitting patients, them to disease.
The Joint Health Sector Unions and Assembly of Healthcare Professionals has issued a 15-day ultimatum to the federal government to resolve its pending welfare issues, or its members will embark on an industrial action. The union said it will resume its suspended strike on October 25th if its demands are not met. This was made known in a memo from the unions to the coordinating Minister of Health and Social Welfare, Professor Mohammed Pate, dated October 9, 2024, entitled Notice of 15 Days Ultimatum and Resumption of Suspended Strike Action. Johesu is made up of the Medical and Health Workers Union of Nigeria, the Nigerian Union of Allied Health Professionals, the Senior Staff Association of Universities, Teaching Hospitals, Research Institutions, and Associated Institutions, and the Non-Academic Staff Union of Educational and Associated Institutions. Meanwhile, Abia State House of Assembly has passed a resolution directing its Committee on Education to invite the Commissioner for Basic Education, the leadership of ASUBEB, and other related functionaries for interaction on the current lucrative business of sales and use of customized text and exercise books in the schools. The Speaker of the Abia Parliament, Emmanuel Emeroa, who announced the resolution during plenary, said that serious attention would be given to the activities of the operators of institutions where the future generations are groomed. The resolution followed the motion on the use of customized text and exercise books in private schools in Abia State, brought before the House by the member representing Aba Central, Stephen Ochonye. Uchonye had, through his motion, alleged that some proprietors the infrastructure concession The Infrastructure Concession Regulatory Commission, ICRC, says it will finalize all public-private partnership PPP projects that are yet to take off over 1 year after they were approved by the Federal Executive Council. The Director General of the Commission, Dr. Jobson Ewalefo, disclosed this when he paid a courtesy visit to the Minister of Marine and Blue Economy, Adeboyega Oyetola. Ewalefo informed the minister that some of the pioneer PPP projects approved in 2006 were under the purview of the ministry. He said that the commission was working at re-evaluating PPPs to prevent unqualified contractors from causing issues when serious investors were willing to partner with the government. The DG stated that the commission had come to ascertain the challenges affecting PPP projects in the ministry and review the issues inhibiting projects already approved and those in the pipeline in view of the importance of the maritime sector to the development and growth of any nation. Is that the ICRC had streamlined the processes to accelerate project delivery to align with the demand of the times in response to the charge by President Bola Tinubu on the need to proactively adopt PPPs in the delivery of infrastructure. Is that the Commission had adopted the concept of attaining project effectiveness after project execution by introducing conditions, precedents through timelines for the achievements of financial close for the private partners. Meanwhile, the Registrar of the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board, JAM, Professor Ishak Oloyede, has advised African nations to guard against reliance on overseas developed artificial intelligence, AI technologies. Oloyede, who gave the advice in his presentation at the University of Ilorin lecture series titled Artificial Intelligence and the Future of Humanities, cautions those in the academics who lack adequate knowledge about their subject against adopting AI. The registrar, who is a former vice-chancellor of the Uni Ilorin, however, allayed the fears that AI would replace humanity, pointing out that the technology has come to stay, insisting that the humanity should be in control of AI in order to save humanity from perdition. He stated that the African Telecommunications Unions, ATU, African Union, AU, Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, and Smart Africa must lead the charge in developing AI strategies tailored to the continent's specific needs. Oloyede observed that those bodies should promote policies that encourage the ethical development and use of AI across sectors such as healthcare, agriculture, education, and governance, saying that a collaboration between African countries on AI research and data sharing can help mitigate the risk of relying on overseas developed AI technologies. The European Union, in collaboration with the United Nations Children's Fund, UNICEF, has commenced the training of education stakeholders on school safety, psychosocial support, and climate literacy in Kano. Speaking at the opening of the training in Kano, State Education Facilitator, Education and Youth Empowerment, EYE, Aisha Abdullahi, said that the training was organized by EYE, which is an EU-funded program and supported by UNICEF in the Northwest. Abdullahi said that the 4-year program, which is from October 2023 to August 2027, covers Kano, Jigawa, Sokoto states is categorized into 3 main outputs. Abdullahi said that the Kano state was selected as one of the top beneficiaries of the newly introduced EU-funded education and empowerment program in Nigeria. The state education facilitator noted that the project would increase the number of girls and boys benefiting from safe, inclusive, relevant learning and skills development opportunities. According to her, the training of the trainers, TOT, will be followed by step-down training to schools in 10 selected local governments of Kano State. Earlier, the Commissioner of Education, Umar Dogua, commended the intervention of UNICEF through the EUI project in the education sector. Dogua, represented by Director Educational Support Services, Hajia Halima Tukur, said that the interventions would improve access to quality education for children, particularly those in underserved communities. The controller of the Katsina Area Command of Nigeria Customs Service, Abba Aji Idris, has called on students to be appreciative the negative impact of smuggling on the nation's economy. The customs controller made the call when students from Government Pilot Secondary School and Umaru Musa Yaradua University visited his office on Thursday in Katsina. He said that the revenue generated by the service was of immense benefits to the students and the entire country, adding that students are stakeholders against smuggling in the country. He said that the engagement with the students would strengthen community relations efforts of service and complement government's anti-smuggling efforts. According to him, by engaging the students, the organization aims to promote a better understanding of its role in securing Nigeria's borders and fostering economic growth. The vice principal of the school, Malam Masudu Saeed, commended the controller for prioritizing community engagement and showing a clear understanding of the essence of community relations and corporate social responsibility. The president of the Students' Association of the university, Mubarak Musa, appreciated and commended the controller for his warm reception and enlightenment. The Nigerian Labour Congress has said that the latest increase in the pump price of petrol will further deepen poverty as production's capacities deep. The Congress added that the increase would lead to more job loss with multi-dimensional negative effects and therefore demanded its immediate reversal. NLC position is contained in a statement signed by its President Joe Ajero on Wednesday in Abuja titled, "What Next After Increase in Pump Price?" The Labour leader said the previous increases had not produced any good results, rather people only got poorer. He said the Congress was dismayed by the latest increase in the pump price of petrol without commensurate capacity of Nigerians or mitigatory measures. It will be recalled that the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, NNPCL, had raised the pump price of petrol by 14.8% to 1,013 naira per litre from 897 across its retail outlets in the FCT. Meanwhile, the Nigerian Association of Chambers of Commerce, Industry, Mines and Agriculture, NACIMA, has expressed concern over the recent increase in petrol pump prices in Lagos and Abuja. National President of the association, Dele Oye, who made this known in a statement in Lagos, said that the prices, which had reached 998 and 1,030 naira per litre in Lagos and Abuja, were placing a strain on businesses and households across the country. He spoke on the potential economic consequences of the price hike, warning that the increase could lead to higher transportation costs, exacerbate inflation, and severely impact small and medium-sized businesses. The NACIMA president said that the decision, influenced by several underlying factors, warranted careful examination of its potential repercussions on the economy, particularly in the realms of pricing for goods, services, and transportation. With transportation costs directly tied to the fuel prices, the increase will serve as a catalyst for higher freight charges, insisting that fuel remains a primary driver of inflation in the country. The NACIMA president called on the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation Limited to demonstrate the necessary goodwill to support Dangote refinery operations to stabilize local petrol prices, reduce Nigeria's dependence on imported petrol, and contribute to national self-sufficiency. Still to come, Nigerian Army says modern military technology is key to combat security threats, and NEMA urges communities to heed early warnings against flooding. Details in a moment. television. The House of Representatives has resolved to mandate a committee on constitutional review to organize public hearings with a view to addressing permanently the delay in justice delivery in the country and restoring the confidence of the common man in the judiciary, and report back within 4 weeks for further legislative action. This followed the adoption of a motion entitled "The Needs to Review Nigeria's Justice and Judicial System in Order to Restore Public Trust in the Judiciary and Address the Delay in Providing Justice," raised during plenary by Ganiyu Ayuba, member representing the Limosho Federal Constituency, Lagos State. Raising the motion, the Honorable Aliyu expressed worries that in some states, cases in trial courts that should be resolved within months last 4 to 5 years before judgment is delivered, especially long-term detentions of suspects, prolonged chieftaincy dispute, and unresolved commercial litigation, which pose significant challenges to democratic and economic progress. Contributors to the debate before its adoption attributed dilapidated and overstretching of the correctional services facilities as part of the reasons for the lapses in the judiciary system. Also at plenary, the House resolves to urge the federal government to, as a matter of urgency, implement the Exports Prohibition Act 2004 to curb food smuggling and food insecurity in Nigeria. The resolution, amongst others, is equal to a motion entitled "It Needs to Curb the Export Prohibition Act to Curb Insecurity in Nigeria," sponsored by Honorable Mukhtar Shagaya, member representing Ilorin West Federal Constituency, Kwara State. The motion was adopted and was referred to the Committees on Agricultural Production and Services, Commerce, and Industry, Customs, and Legislative Compliance to ensure compliance and report back within 4 weeks for further legislative action. The Speaker of the House of Representatives, Abbas Tajuddin, has called for stronger ties and better cooperation between Nigeria and the United States. This is just as Speaker Abbas assured the new American ambassador to Nigeria, Richard Mills, of support by the 10th House and the National Assembly by extension. Ambassador Mills led the delegation of the U.S. Embassy officials on a courtesy call on the Speaker. The Speaker said it was his pleasure to have the newest ambassador of the United States of America visiting today. Speaker Abbas called for more deeper ties, deeper cooperation, and more mutually beneficial relationship. Earlier, Ambassador Mills said the visit was to talk to the Speaker about his priorities and those of the House. The ambassador also said Nigeria is Africa's largest democracy and its ideals are of interest to the United States. The Nigerian Army says the application of modern military technologies will counter security challenges bedeviling the country. The Commander of Corps of the Artillery for the Nigerian Army, Major General Marcus Ganye, said this during the 2024 lecture and study period of exercise Vulcan Glow X held in Kaduna with the theme "Enhancing Artillery Supports to Nigerian Army Operation Through Employment of Emerging Technologies, the Way Forward." Kanye said the exercise is designed to prepare artillery formations and units in the employment of artillery resources in conventional and non-conventional warfare setting, as well as other military operations. According to Kanye, the exercise, which starts from preparation, coordination, marrying up, reorganization, and the artillery maneuver, also prepares troops for asymmetric warfare concepts because of the complex security environment in Nigeria. He explained that the troops will be tested and on administration on the field after the tactical phase on where and how to set up their administrative areas. Meanwhile, Senator representing Southern Borno Senatorial District in the National Assembly, Mohammed Ndume, has said that the Nigerian military is ill-equipped and lacks the wherewithal to end insurgency and banditry. The former chairman of the Senate Committee on Army spoke at his Maiduguri residence after returning from a condolence visit to families of those recently killed by terrorists in Ngoshe, Hirawa, Ashigashia, and other communities in Gaza local government area. Ndume refuted reports making the rounds on social media that his convoy was ambushed by suspected Boko Haram terrorists. They said the Kirawa Road ambush targeted a Cameroonian Bureau de Change businessman, Alhaji Kadi, who was killed alongside an unidentified woman, while others sustained injuries. Meanwhile, the Kaduna State House of Assembly has denied the allegations of planning to manipulate the outcome of the local government election slated for October 19th. The People's Democratic Party, PDP, had a news conference briefing alleged that a meeting was held between the Speaker, Dahiru Liman, and some top government officials allegedly planning to manipulate the outcome of the polls. But the chairman of the House Committee on Information, Henry Mara, at a news briefing in Kaduna said there was nothing related to that the Speaker went for an official visit. On the allegations that the House was planning to amend the State Independent Electoral Commission law, Mara said there was nothing related to that in the order paper for October 9th. He said that the amendment held in July changed the electronic voting machines to manual voting due to the short notice for the elections and the creation of more polling units. He added that the law also gave the State Electoral Commission the liberty to collate and announce election results at the Commission's head office or other places designated by the Commission when they feel threatened or unsecured in an area. The chairman of PDP in the state, Edward Marsha, had alleged that some top officials of the state were likely to be involved in manipulating the outcome of the exercise. Jigawa State Judiciary has inaugurated local government election petitions and appeal tribunals to receive and deal with election petitions arising from the local government poll held on 5th October 2024. This was contained in a statement signed by the Director, Protocol and Publicity of the State Judiciary, Abbas Rufai Wangara. The judicial panel is expected to receive complaints from those who felt cheated or robbed of their victory or any other negativities that emerged during the elections across the state. The statement added that the Local Government Election Appeal Tribunal is sitting at Jigawa State Judiciary Complex, Tutse. The National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, has urged communities to heed to its early warnings to reduce impact of flood in Nigeria. The Director General of the agency, Zubaida Umar, made the call in Dutse while handing over 155,020 liters of liquid fertilizer to the Jigawa government. Umar, who was represented by Sani Ahmed, Director of Administration and Finance, said the call was imperative in order to reduce the impact of flood on communities and properties. She pointed out that it was the responsibility of communities to heed early warnings by authorities. Governor Umar Namadi commended the agency and federal government for the gesture, assuring that the items would be distributed to deserving farmers. State Emergency Management Agency, SEMA, for onward distribution to the beneficiaries. He also urged the beneficiaries to make judicious use of the fertilizer in order to enhance food production and food security in their communities, the state, and the nation in general. In his remarks, SEMA's Executive Secretary in the state, Dr. Haruna Meriga, promised that the items would be fairly distributed to the beneficiaries. Meanwhile, the Federal Road Safety Corps, FRSC, has arrested 20 motorists for violating various traffic rules and regulations on the Lagos-Abeokuta Expressway. The Ota Unit Commander of the FRSC, Wasiu Ogunmefo, who disclosed this on Thursday in Ota, said that the exercise was part of the efforts to check the excesses of drivers along the corridor. Ogunmefo explained that the offenses committed by motorists who were brought before an Ota Chief Magistrate's court include overloading driver's license violation, failure to install speed limit device, tires violation, among others. Ogumefo said that the 5 of 20 persons prosecuted were discharged, while the remaining 15 were asked to pay fines based on their offenses. He said that the punishments will serve as deterrent to others who want to engage in flouting traffic rules and regulations in the access. The pertinent need to revitalize the Enugu State veterinary farm settlements at Achi in Oji River local government area of Enugu State scaled through the first reading at Enugu State House of Assembly on Tuesday, October 8th. The motion was moved by Honorable Osita Eze, representing Oji River constituency at the State House. He told his colleagues that the Achi farm settlement was historic and a beacon of veterinary services in the defunct eastern region, ginger the livestock industry in Nigeria, but presently in comatose. He expressed the urgent need to revitalize the institution, converting it to a polytechnic affiliated to Enugu State Polytechnic, Iwala. He lamented that encroachment into Achi farm settlement by outsiders is hindering its operations. Honorable Eze said the lack of laboratories and other facilities has decreased the productivity and talent-generated revenue IGR capacity of the institution. He prayed for the support of his colleagues in convincing the Enugu State government to embark on urgent revitalization of the Achi Farm School, to reinvent the livestock and piggery sections, and to ensure perimeter fencing of the school to stop encroachments on the school's land by outsiders. Meanwhile, the federal government has inaugurated technical working groups to ensure that gas entrepreneurial skills is infused in the curriculum of technical colleges. The Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Petroleum Resources, Nicholas Ella, who inaugurated the groups in Abuja, said that the move would enhance technical education in the country. The groups include the National Gas Expansion Program, NGEP, and the National Board for Technical Education, NBTE. The Permanent Secretary emphasized the need for innovation in the technical education sector, saying that many institutions lagged in adopting the global technological advancements. According to Ella, today's graduates not only technical skills, but also soft skills that prepare them for entrepreneurship, which is now a norm globally for graduates of technical colleges. Ella said that the TWG's primary objective was to develop and design a comprehensive curriculum aimed at training gas entrepreneurs in monotechnics and polytechnics across the country. He said that this would cover various aspects of the gas value chain, including LPG, CNG, LNG, and biogas. The Permanent Secretary officially inaugurated the group members, which include representatives from both NGEP and NBTE, at the ceremony attended by key stakeholders, including the chairman of the NGEP, various directors from the ministry, and representatives from the NBTE. Meanwhile, President Bola Tinubu has applauded the election of Dr. Olufemi Ogunyemi, Managing Director and Chief Executive of the Nigerian Export Processing Zone Authority, NEBZA, to the board of World Free Zone Organization. The president, in a statement by Mr. Bayo Onanuga, his special advisor on information and strategy, said that Ogunyemi's election to the board of the international body validated the ongoing reforms in the country. Tinubu commended the chief executive officer of NEBZA for his bold initiatives in making the institution globally competitive and creating more export platforms by opening up more investment opportunities. The president urged Ogunyemi to seize the moments of his elevation to redeem the country's image, showcase the renewed hope agenda on the global stage, and integrate the Nigerian economy into the highly rewarding global economic ecosystem. Now for the latest in the world of business, over to our business desk.
Borno, Benue, Adamawa, and Yobe states. This declared humanitarian aid, including shelter, cash assistance, and essential matter. Paula Pace, the IOM's chief of mission in Nigeria, reiterated delivering immediate relief to displaced families. be submerged markets, government offices, hospitals, and even
He
major
will learn that.
stations of the crisis. Nations take stepping to General announced during Nigerians with existing rules will be enforced, particularly concerning corporate entities. The new measures come in the wake of multiple fintech startups shutting down investors over $79 million in losses. Agama and fintech must adhere to SEC guidelines, ensuring transparency and Cornwall PLC has announced a final dividend on every 50 kobo for registered shareholders. This declaration in NGX disclosure platform on October 8, 2024 will be the dividend will be paid exclusively to shareholders whose names appear members by close of business on October 18, 2024. Its commitment to rewarding its investors with a dividend representing a positive foreign investment has seen a substantial increase, rising by 204% in the second $150 million compared to $49.4 million. This marks a 1,660% year-on-year growth from the 3 when foreign investments stood at $8.5 million, released by the National Bureau of Statistics (NBS). The sharp increase has justified a drop in foreign portfolio investment (FPI), which fell $30 billion in the second quarter. The majority of foreign investment has been market instruments such as treasury bills, reflecting investors' attraction to financial markets. In Mali, the military holds second largest gold miner for over 512 million and dividends. This move comes as part of the government's broader efforts from mining companies. Recent audits and a revised mining code allow revenue to flow into state coffers, increasing the state potential ownership 5%. Barrick and the government have begun negotiations to resort into finalized agreements with other mining firms like B2 Gold and Alas. China's Ministry of Finance yuan-denominated treasury bonds valued at 8 billion yuan, that's $1 billion, in Hong Kong on October 16th. This issuance is part of a larger strategy to consolidate Hong Kong's status as the global offered under the guidance of the Hong Kong Monetary Authority's central money market shared in the coming days. At the end of the exchange on Wednesday, October 9th, a total of 356 million shares, 582 deals, reflecting a market value of approximately 6.50% decline in volume, 17% decrease in turnover, and a nice compared to the previous trading session. The current market capitalization stands 127 equities participated in the trading. The 15 leading the gainers was Lasaco Assurance with a notable 10% increase to Naira 53 kobo per share. Following closely were Mikio Industries with a nice Julius Benja Nigeria at 9.33% and Region 0.09% gain. On the losing side, Ella Lake saw the most 0.84% drop, ending with 4 Naira 40 kobo per share. Other Associated Bus Company down 9.63%, Katana and C&I Leasing which fell 8.4%. volume with 66.2 million shares, followed by United Bank for Africa, Sterling Bank at 33.8 million, and Nigerian Breweries with 4 shares. The benchmark NGX all-share index declined by 97, putting at 97,408.
Jambai. Correct me.
Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman and Iran's Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi have discussed developments in the region at a meeting in Riyadh. Top oil exporter Saudi Arabia has had a political rapprochement with Tehran in recent years, which has helped relations remain difficult. Speaking earlier, a senior Iranian official said Araghchi would discuss bilateral issues and efforts to secure a ceasefire in Lebanon and Gaza on his visit, adding that he will also visit Qatar later in the day. The Middle East has been on edge. We're awaiting Israel's response to an Iranian missile strike last week, which Tehran carried out in the retaliation for Israel's escalation against Iran-backed Hezbollah in Lebanon, in a conflict running in parallel to the Gaza war. Earlier this week, Tehran told Gulf Arab states it would be unacceptable if they allowed use of their airspace or military bases against Iran, and warned that any such move would draw a response, a senior Iranian official say. NATO chief Mark Rutte joined Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky and British Prime Minister Keir Starmer for a trilateral meeting in London on Thursday. The trio discussed the support Ukraine would need in its war against Russia in the coming months. Asked about long-range weapons, Rutte told reporters that they discussed it today, but that in the end, it is up to the individual allies. Rutte said that NATO will begin its annual nuclear exercise on Monday, October 14th, against the backdrop of heightened nuclear rhetoric from Russian President Vladimir Putin. NATO officials said F-35A fighter jets and B-52 bombers will be among some 60 aircraft from 13 nations taking part in the Steadfast Noon exercise hosted by Belgium and the Netherlands. Hurricane Milton marched across Florida on Thursday, wiping up deadly tornadoes, destroying homes and knocking out power to more than 3 million customers. First responders in Clear Waters were out before dawn, rescuing residents in an apartment complex from rising flood waters. The storm hit Florida's west coast on Wednesday night as a Category 3 hurricane on the 5-step Saffir-Simpson scale, with tops sustained winds of 205 kilometers per hour, while still a dangerous storm. This was less violent than the rare Category 5 hurricane that had threatened the state as it trekked over the Gulf of Mexico towards Florida. At least 2 deaths were reported at the retirement community following a suspected tornado in Fort Pierce on the East Coast. NBC News reported, citing St. Lucie County Sheriff Keith Pearson, this department did not immediately respond to a request for details. Milton weakened as it crossed land, dropping to a Category 1 hurricane with top sustained winds of 145 kilometers per hour as it reached the peninsula's east coast, the National Hurricane Center say. By Thursday morning, the storm was moving away from the Florida Atlantic coast, lashing communities on the eastern shoreline. Former U.S. President Donald Trump rallied supporters in Pennsylvania and said his prayers were with the people of Florida as hurricane in the state. Trump said the Biden administration had done a terrible job in its response. With less than a month to go before the November 5th election, Trump said that he was putting everything on the line and called on his supporters to vote in order to defeat Kamala Harris.
just about now. In a little while, you're going to see her as well as all of the people still recovering from. So we have North Carolina's been hit very hard, and this has been all terrible, terrible. Nobody's seen anything like it. But we want all to be good, and we're going to be there hopefully soon, and we're going to help them. We hope that God will keep them safe. Just 27 days from now, we're going to win Pennsylvania. We're going to, and we are going to make. We're gonna putting everything in the line to fight for you. I didn't have to be. I could be in a gorgeous beach somewhere in the world. That is this beautiful body in a bathing suit. Now the waves would be crashing into my face. With you in Pennsylvania, and I'd rather be doing.
Trump had earlier staged a rally in Scranton, Pennsylvania, as he makes a push for the battleground state. United States has told UN Security Council that Israel needs to urgently address catastrophic conditions among Palestinian civilians in the besieged Gaza Strip. Referring to reporters of squalid conditions in South and Central Gaza, U.S. Ambassador to the UN Linda Thomas-Greenfield said the catastrophic conditions were predicted months ago.
All parties must meet their responsibilities. The flow of humanitarian aid through multiple is desperately needed and must be allowed. In northern Gaza, including the announcement by Israel of a new, we're particularly concerned that Palestinian civilians heard devastating reports of the squalid conditions in the humanitarian, where more than 1.5 million displaced civilians have let go, and yet have still not been addressed. That must change to take urgent steps to do so. And I reiterate, Palestinian civilians, including those evacuated from the north, and rebuild. Consistent with Resolution 20, traffic or territorial change in the Gaza Strip, including of Gaza. We're also concerned by recent action by the Israelis into Gaza. When combined with new bureaucratic limits from Jordan and the closure of most border crossings, and really have the effect of
15-member Security Council met over the humanitarian by Palestinians militant Hamas in Gaza. Thomas Greenfield also addressed a recent Israeli order civilians in Gaza's north to evacuate again, saying they must be able to return to communities to rebuild.
Of thousands of people are engaged, they are intolerant. And yet, blatant disregard for international humanitarian law is crippling humanitarian response.
Felipe Nazzarini, the head of the UN Palestine Refugee Agency, UNRWA, told the Security Council hundreds of thousands of people are again being pushed to move to the south where living conditions are intolerable.
In one day, about that former
The UN has long complained of obstacles to getting aid into Gaza and distributing it during the war. The U.S. State Department has barred former Ecuador President Rafael Correa and former Vice President George Glass from entry into the United States due to involvement in corruption. The department said it also barred the spouses and children of the former Ecuador officials from entering the U.S. The former president lives in Belgium and has been convicted of corruption and maladministration. He has denied the accusations, describing the case against him as one of political persecution led by his opponents. The former vice president, also convicted of corruption, was jailed in Ecuador. He attempted suicide earlier this year and went on a hunger strike in a prison to protest his arrest, according to his lawyer. Mexico and Ecuador had filed lawsuits against each other at the world court after the April arrest of Glass, who had been living in the Mexican embassy in Quito. Former Prime Minister Boris Johnson's memoir Unleashed was released on Thursday, hitting bookshelves in stores across the United Kingdom. Johnson, who was Prime Minister of Britain and leader of the Conservative Party from July 2019 until his resignation in September 2022, oversaw major global events such as the COVID-19 pandemic and the Russian war in Ukraine. British media reported that a week ahead of his release, Unleashed was already topping the Amazon UK Books bestsellers list. The memoir tells of Johnson's time as Mayor of London, British Foreign Secretary, and Prime Minister. Meanwhile, Palestinians searched among rubble, debris, and clouds of dust for people injured in Israeli strikes that hit a clinic hosting displaced people in Gaza City on Thursday. According to Gaza's health ministry, several people were injured in the strike on Al Rimal clinic in this city. One man carried a person out of the rubble and debris of the struck building with blood covering their face. Eyewitness Hamad Judeye said there was no warning given on an incoming strike. Gaza had a statement on Thursday that more than 42,500 people, Palestinians, have been killed and 97,000 Israel's military offensive on Gaza since October 7, 2023. Ukrainian drones attacked the Kashkaya military air base in Russia's southern Adjia Republic region on Thursday morning. Video posted on social media showed a red flash lighting up the night sky in Makeup, with loud rubble heard rolling seconds later. Separately, regional head Murat Kompilov said on the Telegram messaging app that the village of Rodnikovi in the same area was being evacuated due to a fire after a drone attack. He said the attack targeted the suburbs of the city of Makeup, where the airbase is located, and there were no casualties. Russia's defense ministry said that 47 drones had been drowned or downed overnight over the broader Kuban region, which includes Adyega. A U.S. and French-led call for a 21-day truce between Israel and Hezbollah is still on the table, said the top UN official in Lebanon on Wednesday, October 9th, as she pushed for a way to enforce a UN Security Council resolution violated for years by both sides. A UN peacekeeping mission is mandated by Security Council Resolution 1701, adopted in 2006, to help the Lebanese army keep its southern border area with Israel free of weapons or armed personnel other than those of the Lebanese state. That has sparked friction in Iran-backed Hezbollah, which effectively controls southern Lebanon. All parties are banned from crossing of the Blue Line, a UN-mapped line separating Lebanon from Israel and the Golan Heights. France and the United States proposed last month a 21-day ceasefire, but those talks quickly appeared to stall as Israel heavily bombed Beirut's southern suburbs, killing longtime Hezbollah chief Hassan Nasrallah. And that's the news this hour. Many thanks for watching. Charles Pius is my name. Good evening. This is poorly done. This is poorly done. Very, very poorly done. How do you overpress a teleprompter that is supposed to be clear? How do you overpress it?
They were having issues. The thing is dragging. The thing is dragging. I don't even know the cause of the thing.
Teleprompter
The entire
cannot
system.
drag.
It's the entire system. Like you would have finished with the first paragraph. Your voice is still coming behind. That's it.
They should have done some restarting now. It's a simple thing. Should have done some restarting.